Hi everyone and welcome to a new video. Today's video is going to be a little bit different. I decided to do a little bit of an experiment. What I have decided to do is to wear a corset every day for a month. My plan for this is to wear a corset every day. I will start off with small increments of time. I'm going to wear it for a couple of hours, so I'll start with incrementing the amount of time I wear it for. Something I want to make really clear is that I'm not tight lacing at all. These corsets are laced comfortably. Now, why am I doing this? Basically, I just wanted to see if I could. I've worn the corsets for the day, like to work before, and it was fine. I just wanted to see if for a longer term, how much more used to it do I get? How comfortable is it? The old question. Yeah, so I do have a plan for this. So I'm going to start out with my simplest corsets and then move on. If I want like an extra dramatic figure that day, I can do like an Edwardian corset, or if I'm having a relaxed day, I can do my Regency short stays. If I'm doing a different day, I can wear some of my 18th century stays, which never see the light of day. So basically I just want to wear the things I've made, really. I decided to film it because if I'm filming it is more likely that I'll do it, because I have this thing to produce I won't be very strict about it. So if it's a day where I'm like feeling ill or it's too hot and I just can't be bothered, I will not be doing it. It's that simple. I spent a lot of time making these corsets and I've realised that I've never really broken them in. I've never really worn a corset for more than an hour, except for those singular days. And I think every single time that I've worn it for a full day, it has always been this corset. So this is the first corset I've ever made. It's based on a red threaded pattern and it's a simple Victorian corset. I'll link the pattern in the description box. It was a really good pattern to get me started. And I do find it is probably my most comfortable corset, and most likely because I've worn it the most. So I'm really used to the shape of it. But again, that hasn't been a lot. I think I've made it 4 years ago and I've worn it maybe 6 full days maybe. Pretty comfortable corset. It's not a very dramatic shape, and that's what I want to talk about too next. So my waist size is usually between 30 to 31 inches and a half, depending on the time of day. It does fluctuate a lot, but I just want to let you know that I won't be tight lacing and there isn't that much of a difference. So I put this corset on, I've laced it as comfortably as I can. My shape has changed dramatically, but my actual waist size is only 31 inches. There are a couple of things to account for this. I'm not the squishiest person in the world, and also the corset does add bulk. It has 2 layers of fabric and it has boning in it, so it does add bulk to your waist. And just because it changes the shape, it doesn't mean it necessarily changes the size. So I'll keep track of that as well, just to show you what kind of different silhouettes come with different corsets. I'm not doing it for the reduction. I'm just doing it because I'm curious. I don't think I'll ever get a large waist reduction from a corset. It's just not how my body works. So I can do other things for historical silhouettes, such as padding. So I'll just do a little close-up of this corset because I don't think I've shown it on YouTube before. It is a little rough. None of the inside is finished, but you won't see that anyway. That's it for today. I'm just wearing, oh, the last thing I wanted to mention as well is don't wear a corset without anything underneath. You will chafe. It will be uncomfortable. Don't do it. However, that doesn't mean you have to wear a historical chemise for an everyday situation. You can, absolutely can. It'll look like a floaty fairy and it'll be amazing. But you can also just wear a tank top. That's all I have on today. I'm not going outside, so I'm not going to bother putting anything on top of this. I will check in tomorrow.
This is my 1840s corset. This was made based on a pattern in Nora Waugh's Corsets and Crinolines. I have a blog post about it and I'll link it down below. This corset is really nice and pretty, but it doesn't give anywhere near as much support as any of my other corsets, so I only wore it for a day. Further, it's actually quite big on me. I can fit my hands everywhere, even when it's nearly laced shut, so it's not ideal. On this day I was going out for dinner, so I decided to wear my Regency short stays. It was also really hot. And I tried to disguise this through my outfit, but you can still sort of see the upper edge of the stays. This modern corset was made from a custom drafted pattern made by my friend Helen on Instagram. I'll link her down below. She's an expert in making corsets, so this is one of my best fitting ones, and even though it gives me such a dramatic silhouette, you can see it's not tight and it's also really comfortable. I did find that my favourite corsets to wear were the ones that were made specifically to my measurements, by people who have much more experience in drafting patterns. This final corset is an early Edwardian corset made by the Boudoir Key. I'll link her Instagram and Etsy shop down below. This is my best fitting corset by far. It is super comfortable and gives me a really lovely silhouette. It's also really well made, so I highly recommend her. I'm thinking about making a video about all my corsets and stays. A bit more in depth about each corset, the construction, the pattern, the advantages, disadvantages of each one. Let me know down below if you'd like to see that.
Hello everyone, we've reached the end of the experiment. Some weeks have elapsed since the last day of this. I was between moving houses, so it was very busy and I didn't have time to film this little wrap up. Things I have learned, because I have learned many things. I did not end up filming or checking in every single day because I just thought that would be really boring. I've been working from home, so my days really weren't that exciting. But I did try to film every time I went out, so that every time I had to wear normal clothes over a corset, just to show how it looks, really. I know a lot of people have asked how to disguise the corset. Things I have learned were, I didn't wear a chemise most of the days, I just wore tank tops. That was essential. However, most of my tank tops are made of polyester because fast fashion So things I have learned is I would like to make some sort of vest-like type garments made of linen or cotton that I can wear underneath corsets more commonly. And I would also like to make some corset covers because I didn't have any, but every time that I wore a t-shirt or another tank top on top of the corset, it disguised the shape of the corset underneath. So that works really well. So that's the next thing on my list to make, is a bunch of those plain items that can be easily washed, but most importantly are breathable, because I decided to do this experiment during August, during an unprecedented heatwave in London, which meant I was boiling because most of my corsets were made of synthetic fabrics, or no, actually most of them are. Some of them are made of, the more recent ones are made of cotton couture, so I actually ended up wearing my Regency short stays a lot. And not because of discomfort, but because of the corsets, but because they're made of linen, which meant I wasn't sweating so bad. So yeah, just definitely keep to natural fibres, wear something underneath the corset, and to disguise silhouettes to go outside, if you don't want it to show, you can wear more layers. Natural fibres will also make sure you don't overheat. The other thing I learned was that I do a lot of desk jobs, so every time that I had to stay at my desk for a long time, particularly with sewing, it was always easier to have a corset on. The Regency stays gave nowhere near as much support because it just helped me reduce back pain. It just helped me support and get better posture during those long hours of sewing. So I definitely recommend that, and I think that's what I will do most, is just wear a corset while I'm sewing, because sometimes I sew for 5 hours straight on my desk and that gives me really bad back pain. So wearing a corset definitely helps, but that's for me specific and it will depend on your body. The other thing I found is that I really liked my shape when I wore a corset and then just my normal clothes. I don't know, it accentuates the waist, and that's what I like personally. Again, it's just a personal opinion. I really like this experiment and I feel like it's definitely doable, and it depends on what you want to get out of it. I just want to reinforce that a corset does not change your body. Well, with long term it can. Your body mass doesn't go anywhere. It just moves it around, it shifts it. So it does have to have somewhere to go, which brings me to the next step, which is to make sure your corset fits you. I found my two or three favorite corsets to wear, and surprisingly it wasn't the first one I've mentioned. That first corset actually proved to be uncomfortable the longer I wore it. For the extra long days I started noticing things like, particularly the underarm line is too high for me and it's too long-waisted for me. These are things that you can change during the mock-up stage, but these were things I didn't know to change when I was beginning to sew. So the best ones I have were my modern corset, which only featured a little bit in this video I think, but that corset was really good. This one in particular is my favourite, and I think I've mentioned a bit more of them throughout the video, so I won't repeat that. But particularly pay attention in your mock-up to where your waistline is and where your bust line is. And for me in particular is the underarm line. So if your waistline is wrong, it will push your corset up, especially when sat down, and that can create some weird bits here. Another thing is not to lace too tightly across the hips, because that can make the corset dig into your hips when you're sat down. It's absolutely fine to do everything that I normally do in my corset. I was not restricted, I did not faint, I did not die. It was absolutely fine. Challenge the patriarchy. Anyway, I hope this video was interesting and thank you so much for watching. If you have any corset questions, I can try to help down below, but again, I would rather you refer to a professional corsetier rather than amateur me experimenting. Thanks! Isn't it just so pretty? I mean, look at it. And it is by far my most comfortable corset.